Have you ever like walked out of a movie and just thought, wow, those sets were incredible, or maybe been in a concert and been blown away by the stage?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of the people who make those incredible creations a reality. Set builders.
It really is fascinating. It's this blend of like artistic vision and practicality, taking what might just start as a simple sketch and turning it into, well, into these immersive worlds. And it's not just for entertainment, right? We're talking events, festivals.
It's way more than just carpentry, though, isn't it? You'd need a sense of design and eye for space, almost like an architect.
You're absolutely right. And the collaboration aspect is huge. I mean, the RoleCatcher career guide we're looking at today really highlights how set builders are working with, well, everyone, designers, directors, even thinking about the practical needs of like the actors and the film crew who will actually be using those sets.
It's interesting they list reading comprehension as a crucial skill, which I'll admit isn't the first thing that springs to mind.
Right. But it really highlights that this is about more than just, hammering some wood together.
Understanding those blueprints, the technical specs.
Exactly. You're bringing a vision to life, and accuracy is key.
And speaking of bringing things to life, how much has technology changed the game? I saw they mentioned things like CAD software and 3D printing. Is that becoming standard these days?
It's definitely having a huge impact. Think about, instead of rough sketches, you can now use CAD software, that's computer-aided design, by the way, to create these incredibly detailed 3D models.
Oh, wow.
And 3D printing. That allows for intricate set pieces, props, things that would be, well, incredibly difficult to create traditionally. Those crazy detailed sci-fi movie sets, fantastical creatures, all that. Technology is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
So it's kind of like architecture in a way. Buildings are still built on those fundamental principles, but the tools have evolved so much, it allows for some groundbreaking designs.
Exactly. Though it's important to remember those core carpentry skills are still super important. Being able to problem solve on the fly, knowing how to work with different materials, that hands-on experience is irreplaceable.
It's that mix of old and new that I find so fascinating, the traditional craftsmanship alongside these cutting-edge technologies.
And that's exactly why resources like those from RoleCatcher are so valuable. Their set builder interview prep materials, for example, really get into the specifics of this evolving landscape.
Yeah, they had some really interesting questions in there. I remember one that stood out was, how do you ensure a set is safe both for the actors and the crew? Which as a viewer isn't something you'd necessarily think about, but it makes total sense.
It's crucial. And it just goes to show that a set builder needs to be thinking several steps ahead. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about functionality, safety, how it all comes together.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is.
Which makes me think the career progression must be pretty interesting. I mean, you don't start out managing an entire team and budget, right?
You got it. The RoleCatcher guide actually outlines that typical trajectory, starting with those entry-level roles, assisting more experienced set builders. Then, as you gain more experience, expertise, there's definitely a path towards becoming a manager, overseeing whole projects.
So it's not like you're just, hammering away at the same thing forever. There's real potential to grow, take on more and more responsibility. What kind of skills would you say are really valuable on that path, from like builder to manager?
Oh, so many. I mean, problem solving is huge. On a set, things can change so quickly. Being able to think on your feet, adapt, find those solutions, that's essential.
Makes sense.
And because you're working with such a diverse group of people, you've got your creative visionaries, your technical experts, you develop these amazing communication and collaboration skills.
You'd almost need like a sixth sense, right, for anticipating problems before they even come up.
Uh-huh. Almost.
Yeah.
And, one thing that I think often gets overlooked is the spatial design aspect of this work.
Oh, interesting. You mean like being able to walk into a totally empty room and just visualize how it'll all come together?
Exactly. It's about understanding things like depth, scale, proportion, making sure that everything's going to look right, whether it's on camera or for a live audience.
Wow, I never even considered that.
Think about it this way. Imagine having to design, say, a rotating room for a film noir scene, right?
Right.
It's the set builder's understanding of those spatial dynamics that makes that trick look effortless on screen.
That's wild. It really is like this hidden world of expertise that most people don't even realize is there. You have to be thinking about aesthetics, functionality, safety, all at the same time.
Exactly. And, all that expertise, it can open doors to opportunities beyond just traditional set building, too. We've been talking a lot about entertainment, but those skills are transferable Think themed environments, museum exhibits, even high-end retail design.
So you could go from building like a medieval castle for a TV show to designing an immersive museum exhibit about ancient Rome.
Precisely. The possibilities are really quite vast. And with things like experiential marketing and interactive installations becoming more and more popular, those skills are only going to be more in demand.
Which makes those specialized interview questions from RoleCatcher make even more sense. You definitely want to be prepared to talk about like your spatial reasoning or how you handle those on-the-spot problem-solving situations.
For sure. And that's the beauty of resources like RoleCatcher.
Yeah.
Having access to something that's so tailored to these specific skills, that can give you a real edge in such a competitive job market.
Speaking of technology and its impact, one thing I found interesting in RoleCatcher's materials was their discussion of automation and how it's, changing the job search landscape in general. Do you think that's something that will impact the field of set building a lot in the coming years?
It's definitely a big question and something people are talking about more and more. Now, while I don't see robots replacing human creativity and problem solving anytime soon, there's no doubt that automation will have a role to play. I mean, we're already seeing it. Things like CNC machining, for example, allow for incredibly precise cuts and fabrication, which frees up set builders to really focus on those more intricate artistic aspects of the job.
So it's less about replacing humans and more about like augmenting their existing capabilities.
Exactly. It's about utilizing technology to boost creativity and efficiency. Imagine being able to input a design into a computer and have a machine create the basic structure. That leaves you way more time to focus on the details, the finishes, the elements that really bring a set to life.
That's amazing. It sounds like a really exciting time to be an aspiring set builder. So let's say someone is listening to this and they're thinking, this is it. This is my dream job. What advice would you give them? Like, what are some concrete steps they can take to start building a career in this field? So many options. Okay, so let's say someone's heard all this and they're thinking, all right, I'm sold. This is for me. I want to be a set builder. Where do they even begin?
Well, the good news is there are actually a few different paths you can take.
Ah,
For example, traditional apprenticeship programs. Those are amazing for getting that hands-on experience, learning directly from people who've been doing this for years.
yeah, that makes sense.
Or you could look into technical schools or even some college programs. A lot of them have specialized courses in set design and construction these days.
Oh, cool.
And of course, platforms like the one we've been talking about, RoleCatcher, are super helpful. They're great for researching jobs, finding out more about the industry, even connecting with other professionals.
Right, because it's one thing to like have the skills and the passion, but you also got to know how to, navigate the whole industry itself.
100%. And something people don't always think about is networking.
Mm-hmm.
Going to industry events, joining those online forums, meeting people who are already working in the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's so valuable.
So much of it comes back to those connections, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. And never underestimate a good portfolio either. Even if you're just starting out, putting together some of your own projects could be anything from volunteer work to student productions that really shows initiative.
Right, it's all about showing that passion. Okay, so to bring it all back to our listener, imagine this for a second. The lights are about to come up on a film set or the curtains rising on a Broadway stage, and you look around and you think to yourself,
Don't even get me started.
I built this. What a feeling that must be.
There's really nothing else like it. To see your imagination come to life like that, all that hard work, the collaboration, it all leads to that moment. It's what makes this whole career path so incredibly rewarding.
It's been awesome taking this deep dive with you today. I mean, honestly, I had no idea how much there was to learn about the world of set building, from like the importance of reading comprehension to the rise of 3D printing. Who knew? So yeah, if you're out there listening and you've ever thought about crafting worlds, bringing stories to life like this, just remember the path of a set builder is paved with creativity, with problem solving, and yeah, with a whole lot of hard work. But as we've seen today, the people who do this, they get to create something truly magical.